Yasaman is learning belly dance. Today I'm going to teach you an awesome fun move called piston hips or hip piston, whichever way you want to say it. I will show you what the move looks like first. I'm going on demi point right now, and the hips will go. That's the hip piston. Now, what I'm going to show you is different parts and how to do the hip piston. It's almost like a hip drop, but I'm on demi point on both feet. You know how I showed you in one of my other videos, the hip drop, and I showed you the hip lift as well in that. Now, I was on demi point in that video too. Now, hip drop, you're dropping your hip down. Now, the way I teach my beginner students on how to do a hip drop is to use the power of the ball of your foot. Now, in order to do a hip drop, you turn your foot outward, which will make the thigh, inner thigh show like that. So it would go, drop the hip, and remember I showed you hip lift is foot in. This is for beginners that helps you be able to get the movement down. Later, the longer you do belly dance, most likely you will actually need to do all the thinking about how to make the hip do that, be a natural reaction for the body. I don't even necessarily think about it. I have to do it without moving. Now, you can use the power of your hip, which is just a push of the hip up, push the heel of your foot comes up with a hip bump. Okay? And hip drop. With my foot on demi point, then I have my other leg straight. This one's on demi point, this one drops down, down. So you can see that I'm going in and down. Remember, the other opposite leg is straight like this. This one is demi point. Now you don't have to worry, once you get to the point where you don't have to use the way I showed you with the hip going down because you're turning the foot out. You would do this. And see, my knee is going to pop forward, so it's going down. Letting the weight fall downward, and this leg is straight. So your left leg, if you're doing a hip bump or hip drop, rather on the right, the left leg would be straight. So give it a bounce down, 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 okay? Now, hip piston is a hip drop. Now, I teach it on demi point from the start. And demi point, if you don't know, used in ballet terms, demi point, meaning the ball of the foot, like so. Now, I'm on demi point most of the time when I do my hip pistons because I think it makes it look more defined. Now, what you want to do is, I want you to practice first going on demi point, first on one foot, leaving that one flat, putting weight on the ball of the foot, not too much, you want to even it out, don't hurt yourself. Okay? Just practice this, getting your foot used to being on demi point. Then you're going to give it weight. By doing that, you're going to go on both, stand up, do that, okay? This will give you exercise on the ball of your foot. I do this with my stretching exercise for the ball of my feet. Okay? Wait. Okay? Now, pull them to the ball of your feet. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down. Okay? Now go up on demi point for me. And then you're going to go drop the hip down. Switch the other side, drop down. Go back to flat. Don't overstrain yourself, okay? You're just starting. Up on demi point, drop hip down, switching off. Now you'll watch my feet in the back of how I'm alternating to get the hip to give me that movement with the drop. Now I'm on demi point here. Now watch me. Some teach it while stamping, like if you were stepping in place. This is another way for you to practice. Lift one hip up, put down. It's like almost across the front, like that. This will help you lift the hip up, like so. That's another way to practice, okay? Now, go on demi points. They're going to go one side, back to neutral. Other side, back to neutral. 1, 2, 1, 2. And it's awesome when you can do this move to a beat. I'll start clap the Oompa over. This will give you an idea of how you can use it. The hip piston, or also known as piston hips. Give the hip piston a try. Let me know how it all went. This has been Yasmin's Learning Belly Dance.